So challenge number 3, the human side of change is being neglected. So most change strategies really ignore the emotional processing of teams. So emotions drive behavior, and yet sometimes in those strategies, they ignore what really happens with the individuals, with the team members, and the need to move forward. And so leaders sometimes focus on the data, the deadlines, the performance, but they overlook fear, grief, or the confusion that actually happens during transitions. And that's actually what's going on when management comes in or leadership comes in and makes changes, but forgets to see how it affects, families, how it affects the stress level of, the employees. That's when the challenge happens. That's when burnout actually happens. And so when the human element is overlooked, it really affects culture, and that culture deteriorates and trust declines. So it's really understanding that adding that human element can make all the difference. So here's some solutions for the challenge with the human-centered piece, is to lead with emotional intelligence, not just KPIs, really equipping managers and leaders to recognize those emotional responses, the resistance, fear, grief, and really respond with empathy. So that comes into those one-on-one communications. When you see resistance happening or somebody is calling out sick a lot, to have those one-on-ones. What's really going on? Tell me what's really happening, because there might be a change happening in your workplace and your team members don't feel safe telling you what's going to go on. They might feel like they might be subjected to something that deteriorates the relationship, or they might be written up for whatever it might be. But the more that you can teach your leaders to have that emotional awareness, that's actually what we teach in our emotional intelligence programs. That's actually the foundation of understanding how people are navigating, how humans are. Because when change actually happens, I've mentioned this before, yes, it's emotional, but it's really their nervous system that is dysregulated at that point in time. So understanding, how someone can talk to someone, even something simple as deep breathing to help them regulate their emotions, because otherwise those stress hormones are just running through their body, which actually creates more of the burnout. And really celebrate emotional honesty. When people feel safe sharing how challenge is impacting them, they're likely to stay more engaged. And I will say that even in an open forum, when someone shares what's really happening with them, number one, they're being vulnerable. And what it actually does, kind of energetically, is that it gives other people permission to be vulnerable as well, just to show their human side, especially leaders. Because sometimes leaders feel like they have to, hold it all together for their team, but they're human too. And really to reframe the success metrics to include trust, connection, and adaptability. And so by looking at that, it actually builds more trust, builds that psychological safety, builds a deeper connection with the team.